All right, we're back from this morning after a great fight last night between Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Derevyanchenko. And regardless of who you think won that fight, Gennady Golovkin did not look like the 8-1 favorite or 7.5-1 favorite that the odds makers had installed him at. Now, I said before this fight that Derevyanchenko was definitely a live underdog here. And in my own humble opinion, I thought he clearly won this fight last night. What's up, Meredith? I thought he clearly won this fight last night. I find it hard for any scorer to give Golovkin more than 4 rounds last night. I just thought it was hard to do so. No H money. I thought he lost. I totally and respectfully disagree. I'm sorry. We were scoring this fight live during the broadcast last night, and all of us in the chat had Derevyanchenko winning. Some people had him winning wider than others, but he clearly won the fight. And you could sit there and say whatever you want about the punch stats, but for a great portion of the fight, Golovkin was landing touch jabs, get-off-me punches. Now, I'm not saying he didn't land any good punches, but even the knockdown was a grazing blow because it was a balance shot that Derevyanchenko got caught with in the first round. He put his head down, crossed his legs a little bit, and got hit on the top of the head, and he fell down because he was off balance. Now, is it a legitimate knockdown? Absolutely. But it still wasn't a telling blow, a blow that hurt Derevyanchenko. Okay? So, to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of people were saying there's no way that, Golovkin's going to lose a decision. He's the house fighter. And I kind of disagreed with people before this fight, but once again, you guys were right and I was wrong. I thought for sure Derevyanchenko won this fight. Now, here's the thing. Were the rounds competitive? A lot of them, yeah. But Golovkin only had moments in spurts in the rounds. He would do good for about 30, 45 seconds, and then Derevyanchenko would carry the rest of the round. And I thought Derevyanchenko clearly landed more power shots, and I thought his shots were cleaner, more effective, and he did much better work to the body. And you could see that the body language suggested that Golovkin was tired, he was hurt, he was fading as his fight wore on. And I think Derevyanchenko was busier, regardless of what the punch stats say. Because if you want to count those get-off-me touch jabs that Golovkin was throwing as effective blows, that's fine. You could say whatever you want about that. And if that's how you want to score a fight, if you want to score a round for a guy that lands 2 or 3 good shots in a round, when the other guy's clearly outworking and out-hustling him and landing 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 good punches in a round, then I think that's an improper way to score a fight. So if you listen to the post-fight interview after this fight, Chris Mannix clearly asks Golovkin, do you think you won this fight? And he totally dodged the question. He totally had a look on his face as a defeated fighter. Sean Newton, you're a fanboy. Everybody knows it. You're not getting you're not going to get any responses in any play here. That's the last response you're going to get. Your comments are irrelevant. They're useless because you're a fucking fanboy, and you know that Golovkin lost the fight. You know it. You're a fanboy. There's no question about it. You're a fanboy. And nobody can say that I'm a Golovkin hater because I scored both Canelo fights for Golovkin. But once again, I think Golovkin got some favorable scoring like he did in the Jacobs fight. Now, the Jacobs fight was much closer than this fight, but I still think Jacobs eked it out. I still think he eked it out. Porter did not outwork Spence. Spence totally took over in that fight in the second half of the fight. Everyone knows that. And you're a Spence hater and you're a PBC hater, so we all know. You have an agenda. Your comments are irrelevant. Everybody in this chat knows that you're a fraud. And you're a fanboy of the zone fighters. And even Chris Mannix scored this fight to Derevyanchenko. Even Dan Rafael scored this fight to Derevyanchenko. And these guys are definitely Golovkin homers. Even as biased as that DAZN broadcast team was towards Golovkin last night, Sergio Mora had Derevyanchenko winning, Chris Mannix had Derevyanchenko winning, and stupid Brian Kenny was just sitting, waffling back and forth, sitting on the fence. So, it is what it is. So if you had Spence winning the fight, then why are you comparing it to this? You can't compare this fight to the Spence fight. Spence clearly beat Porter. That was another horrible decision, giving Porter 8 rounds in that fight. No one thought Porter won 8 rounds in that fight. Come on, stop it. It was not a similar fight. You need to stop watching boxing if you think that was a similar fight to this. Just give it up. You need to start watching golf and tennis, bro. Hang it up. Georgie, stop kissing his ass. You don't know that much about boxing either. So back to this fight. So you don't give a guy rounds for landing touch jabs, because 4 or 5 touch jabs do not equal 4 or 5 power shots. Okay? And if someone thinks that, then they don't know how to score a round. Now, there are people that do think that Golovkin pulled this out. There are people that think this fight was close. I just respectfully disagree with those guys. And going back to the post-fight interview, Golovkin had a look of defeat on his face. He couldn't even say to Chris Mannix, yes, I thought I won the fight. All he said was basically saying that he could have done more, that he even said he wasn't focused on boxing anymore. So basically he's become a businessman. His head's not in it anymore. Couple that up with the age and the wear and tear, he's already got 1 foot out the door. There's no way he beats Canelo in a 3rd fight after this performance and after those statements. So if you're asked if you think you won the fight, yeah, there is rules to scoring a fight. It's called criteria. Georgie, you're not a boxing guy, bro. You're a troll. You're not a boxing guy. You have very low knowledge of the sport. You're a casual fan. You don't know that there's criteria to scoring rounds. Sorry. There is a criteria to scoring rounds. And we're not gonna keep going over this, because if you don't understand it by now, you're just not gonna get it. It's not the sport for you. It's just not the sport for you. So going back to what I was saying, when Golovkin was asked did he win the fight, he said, oh, Derevyanchenko's a great fighter. He did great. What a challenge he was. I could have done more. I'm not focused anymore. All he did was criticize himself after the fight and praise Derevyanchenko. So what winning fighter praises the guy he just beat more so than himself after a fight? Now, you can critique yourself and say, hey, I thought I could have done better. It was an off night, but I still think I pulled it out even with my deficiencies in the fight. But Golovkin didn't really say anything good about himself in this fight. Basically, all he did was big up Derevyanchenko, and he did not answer the question, do you think you won this fight? He totally dodged it. And all he did was make excuses about his performance. So, it is what it is, man. Canelo should definitely take this fight now. This is easy money. This is the easiest money fight, big money fight that could be made in the sport of boxing now if you're Canelo Alvarez. This is basically taking candy from a baby. So, I don't know, man. I just think that some of these rounds had competitive moments in them, but it appeared to me that Derevyanchenko totally took this fight over in the second half of the fight. And I thought he won the 12th round. I thought he won the 11th round. And there's people out there that gave Golovkin the 12th round because he landed 2 right hands, but they totally discounted Derevyanchenko's right hands and all the body shots that he landed in that round, and how he was backing Golovkin up, and Golovkin was holding on at the end of that round with his mouth wide open. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I thought Derevyanchenko clearly deserved a decision last night. And this fight definitely showed that Gennady Golovkin has one foot out the door. Because his defensive reflexes are not going to get better. They're just not. And if people are still under the impression that Golovkin still has it, with all due respect, I'm not here to piss on Golovkin. He still had a great career, and he's probably going to still make the Hall of Fame. There's no question about that. But at the end of the day, I don't think you could mention him along with the elite middleweights of all time. He's definitely been overrated by some of the fans and some of the pundits that have basically touted him about 2 years ago as possibly one of the greatest middleweights in history. Because every time he stepped up against Canelo, against Jacobs, and even Derevyanchenko now, once he started stepping up and facing the iron of this division, you saw the difference in his performance. He wasn't that monster, that killer. So at the end of the day, just because you say someone's overrated, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad fighter. He's still a good fighter. He's still a competent fighter. Georgie, again, we can go back and forth. You don't know how to score a fight. You don't understand the sport. You're not a technical guy. You're just not. This is above you, bro. Certain things are above you. I can't walk into a doctor's office and start diagnosing people. That's above my pay grade. This is above your pay grade. You just have to accept it. You cannot talk the technical aspects of this sport with a person like me. And I don't care if that sounds arrogant, because you don't understand that this criteria. Okay? And if you don't think that this fight, and you even said it after this fight, I heard you say it now, the guidelines are basically effective aggressiveness. We go, and again, I have to keep teaching you. You have the comprehension skill of a fucking snail if you can't understand. The question is, the criteria for scoring the fight is effective aggressiveness, clean effective punching, defense, and ring generalship. And Sergey Derevyanchenko definitely did more in all of those categories than Gennady Golovkin did. And if you want to argue that, then you have to support your argument. And if you can't support your argument, then you're disqualified from the debate. And once again, you got to go down and sit at the little kids' table when the grown folks are talking. You got to sit at the little kids' table when the grown folks are talking. That's it. That's it. Okay, so if you think that Golovkin landed more effective blows in that fight, then I don't know what to tell you. I totally disagree with you. Okay? I totally disagree with you. Now, was that cut on Derevyanchenko caused by a punch? Absolutely, 110% it was. So, in that regard, yeah, that was a punch that opened up the eye, but even with that eye, I still think that he was more effective. Georgie's definitely a troll. He's not going to get any more play on this debate right now, because we already know what he's doing. Because he also said, yeah, it is okay to have different opinions. I'll give you that, Sean Newton. I respectfully disagree with it, though. I respectfully disagree with it. You know? So, yeah, the criteria for beating big names is you got to destroy them. You have to knock them down 10 times. You just have to kill them. You just basically have to kill them in order to get a decision. That's how it works. You know, and it's horrible that before every big fight we have to say, oh, if this guy doesn't destroy him, doesn't put him out on a stretcher, that he's not going to get the decision. I mean, Golovkin showed zero defense last night. Zero. Okay? He was getting hit flush. This fight definitely took years off his career and pushed him even further out the door than he was before this fight started. And he fights freaking Andre, he fights Canelo. Even if he rematches Jacobs right now, he loses to all those guys. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. He's got too many miles on the tank. So, we're definitely going to talk about this later on the Ringside Reporter podcast. Eric, myself, so all you guys can join us 7 p.m. Eastern Time tonight. Call in, and we'll talk about this further, but I thought this was a bad decision. I thought Derevyanchenko clearly won this fight. But he clearly won this fight. That's all I got for now. Beeb is out. Talk to y'all soon. Have a great day. And see you later tonight. Peace out, everybody.